This must be the place.
How are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
So nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Have a seat.
Yeah. Wow.
All right.
Here we are. So you got 4 cameras on me? How many cameras did you get? Did you get 4 also? What? But is yours moving at least?
Nope.
So yours is fixed.
All on you.
So how are they going to use your cut-ins to match my
Magic.
tracking shots?
Yeah, magic.
Okay.
Charlie Sheen, take 1.
So there's no escaping. We're going to get every reaction.
Clearly.
Every
Wow.
emotion.
I think
No pressure.
You deserve at least 1 more camera. I mean, come on.
I'm good.
You want me to call your
Good.
boss?
Could you?
Yeah.
That'd be great. Well, first of all, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
You've just turned 60. That's a big milestone.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah?
It's pretty good.
What would you tell 20, 30, 40-year-old Charlie? What advice would you give him?
You mean as a 60-year-old looking back
Yeah.
at that guy?
Yeah.
Don't take everything so personally. And save your freaking money. I mean, that's pretty sound advice, you know?
It's an important one.
Yeah, sock some away, young man.
How is life? What is life in the day of Charlie Sheen now?
What is life? It's pretty normal stuff, you know. It's nothing that I don't do things that are I'm not like, I don't start the day with a skydive, you know. But no, it's these days it's mostly about family.
Family
mostly
and
about children.
work.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the last couple of years have been about work with these 2 projects, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, whatever happens next, I'm fine with, because I'm up for it, you know.
So life these days is the polar opposite to the Charlie Sheen that we saw and felt we knew in the 90s and the 2000s.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Do you recognise that guy now?
Well, there's a lot of that guy. Which one in particular? You talking about like the that guy, or just that guy?
That guy.
That guy. I recognize it because I have to, you know, acknowledge and own it. But I don't relate to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. I can't really. I couldn't justify those kind of choices and that kind of behavior today, because it's just not. It's not part of the flow that you know. It's just it doesn't match the energy that the vibes that I think I'm attracting and emitting. You know.
You're emitting much more relaxed vibes.
Oh, thank you.
I feel.
Thank you. Right on.
If you'd stayed on that path, the booze and the drugs, where was that headed? Would we be sitting here today having this
I don't
conversation?
think we'd be here. I don't think we'd be here. I think that doc would have been told in memoriam, you know. Yeah, it would have just been archival with like a very serious narrator. So that's pretty cool. I got to tell my own story.
Yeah.
You know? Have you seen the doc?
I haven't seen the documentary.
You haven't seen the
yet.
doc?
I've read the book.
Oh, you've read the book?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I enjoyed. It was intense.
Oh, right on. Thank you.
Why did you decide to have this conversation, to write the book, to share your deep, dark and dirty secrets with the world?
It's not so much the why, it's more about that I had gotten to a place where I had enough perspective to look back on it and I think you know, deliver it in a way that was very personal. Was hopefully somewhat entertaining. Were you entertained when you read it?
Absolutely.
Right, good. Okay, check that box. But also to tell those stories in a way that they've never been told, because I've never had a chance to really, you know, fill in so many of those blanks, you know.
So telling your own story as opposed to how it was told.
Exactly.
Through the
tabloids. Yeah, through the pens and through the lenses of others, you know.
Yeah. And there's some very funny moments, but there's also very sad moments. And I mean, it must have been very confronting to write.
Some of it was, yeah. Some of it was I guess, cathartic. But it was also it was really challenging. It's the most challenging job I've ever taken on, and at the same time the most rewarding one.
Why is that?
Because if you think about it, for 40 plus years, I've been saying other people's words and needing approval to change them or to make them better. And to just be alone in my own process, because I didn't have any help writing the book. I had a brilliant editor, Amy Bell, you know.
But it's all you.
Yeah, no, it was all, it's all me, yeah. But to not have to get, you know, approval from someone or it go through.
It's kind of liberating.
Yeah, it's very liberating, yeah. But it's also, it adds to some of that adrenal excitement and pressure about, okay, you've committed to this, and then here it is, world. You know, it's like when you hit send on that giant universal whoosh sound effect, and it's like, enjoy, you know?
You share some very graphic and confronting details of your drug use, your sex life, in and out of rehab, marriage breakdowns.
Sure.
You're very honest about it all. Is there a vulnerability in sharing that stuff?
There is, but there's also, if you'll notice, the heartbeat is, or one of the heartbeats, a part of that heart is humor that I was able to maintain. And that's for my benefit, that's for the reader's benefit. And it's not to make light of stuff, it's just to speak to just how I've, you know, seen things, felt things, dealt with things that that I've always managed. And I'm not making light of the, you know, some of that stuff, but if I could infuse humor into those beats and just give the reader a feeling like your narrator was you know, in on the joke or going to survive this one too, you know.
Which you did.
I did.
You had some very close calls.
Pretty dicey. Got a little dicey there.
Just
you know?
a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Can we go back to the beginning? Because you had a pretty dramatic entrance to this world.
I did, yeah. But that's interesting because that's not a story I can tell from memory, right?
Of course.
Obviously. But it's, so I kind of had to bounce between being an author and being a journalist, investigating, you know, having to shake down my parents for the facts, yeah.
Because you almost died at birth, right?
I did, yeah, I did. Well, that's why my middle name is Irwin, as you read. Yeah, and who knows what kind of you know, impact or effect or you know, where something like that takes a guy or you know, I don't. It's like I think I mentioned in that chapter, you know, that you know, we're all victims of our childhood and how often we choose to go back there and lend an ear to those whispers is some serious wheat chaff effery. We're on network, right?
We are.
Did you like how I
I appreciate that.
edited myself? Yeah, right on.
You're a pro.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you feel that acting was your destiny growing up in the Sheen Estevez clan?
I didn't. No, it was a hobby. It was what we watched Dad do growing up. But then I was running out of options. You know, I couldn't. It was an academic failure. It was an athletic failure, and I was watching Amelia with this incredible rise to stardom and success, and all this access to like the coolest things on the planet. And I was like, I want to do some of that, you know. And then, you know, had at least the proving ground or the training of as you know, as amateurish as all of those films were, you know, but at least it was us doing it just on a really small scale, and I was going to take the risk and see if any of that stuff would transfer, you know, to the next level. And
so you scored your first big film role like 3 weeks after flunking high school.
Yeah.
And you've been, you know, the son of Martin Sheen, the brother of Emilio Estevez, and suddenly you're this big star in your own right.
Right.
What did that do to your head and your ego?
Well, it didn't happen like that. There was like 2.5, 3 years. It felt longer because of all the activity in that time frame. What did it do to my ego? I think it was more about what it was going to do for my confidence. I don't really feel like I was a guy that led with ego. I was a guy that put on a facade that perhaps there was more ego there than there really was. Because when things start happening at an accelerated pace, and suddenly the stakes get elevated with each opportunity. There's a thing about am I really ready for this? Shouldn't they have like checked me out? Shouldn't they have looked under the hood a little longer, or a little more thoroughly before just trusting me? Well, here, let's just do this giant big thing.
Were you ready?
I don't think so. I think some of the work is pretty good. I think some of the work was up to the task.
Do you have, when you look back at some of those early hits, Platoon and Wall Street, Ferris Bueller, do you have fond memories of those years?
I do, but I watch the performances and I'm like, what were you thinking? And I see other moments. I'm like, okay, all right, I can build on that.
And behind the scenes, you were partying hard.
Yes.
How hard?
Is there like a scale?
Yeah.
What's this? Are we on a 10?
Let's call it 100.
100. Okay. Yeah. No, I would take it where I felt it needed to go, and dare others to follow me there.
Is it fair to say you were an agent of chaos?
Well, that makes it sound like I'm involved in international affairs.
On film sets.
Yeah, no, I wanted to really enjoy the success, on my terms, and still try to navigate and manage the responsibilities of the job,
How did you show up and act, brilliantly when you were deep in some of the anecdotes you write about partying all night and there's booze and there's drugs?
Well, that those weren't always in play. There were times when there were breaks. I did the math like a few months ago, and I was trying to figure out what percentage of my life have I actually not been a drinker?
Yeah.
And it's actually a little bit over half.
Okay.
And I think that's the reason when people say, how do you remember all this stuff? My gosh, you put everything in. I think that has something to do with it, was that I did manage to squeeze in those longer breaks.
You delve into, when you were into the really heavy stuff.
Right.
Is it true that at the height of your addiction...
Sorry.
No, go for it. What is that? Do you mind if I ask?
No, it's a breath mint.
Oh.
Breath sauce, breath juice. And I peel off the wrapper because you can't see when it's running out. And if you're in like a moment where you really need better smelling breath and you go to hit this thing and it's empty.
Did you feel like you were in that moment then?
Well, yeah. We've only known each other for like 14 minutes. And, you're only about 4.5 feet away.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Very thoughtful.
Yes, indeed. So.
Well, I was about to ask you a very serious question. Now I've forgotten it.
Sorry.
At the height of your addiction.
Yes.
Is it true that you were smoking like 7-gram rocks of crack cocaine?
Well, we never took one out of the pipe and put it on a scale. However, that was the amount that was cooked to get it into that form. And, I remember at one point telling Marco, kind of like the Jaws moment, we're going to need a bigger pipe. It's kind of funny, no?
It is fun. Well,
I like that line.
it's funny, but
you
it's
can use
also...
that in your promos. Sorry.
It is funny, but it's also deeply like you're lucky to be alive.
I know. I know. I get all that. I get all
The
that.
cartel cut you off.
They did. They did. That's a good story, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. Tell me the story.
Yeah. Well, I want people to be surprised when they hear it in the book, or read it in the book, or actually in the audiobook. They had never seen someone acquiring that kind of weight, and so the only other people that they were delivering that kind of weight to were dealers, and they thought I was dealing on the side, and so
How did your body cope?
I don't know. I don't know.
2011. You were the highest paid actor on television.
Right.
You blew it up. What happened?
What happened? It was just it was an imperfect storm of way too much stuff going on behind the scenes in my personal life, and I had back-to-back failed marriages, and then in the middle of all that, still trying to, be front and center for the children. I went through 2 divorces and had 4 children in an 8-year run on that show. So if you think about that, it's like a kid every 2 years.
That's a lot.
See, I learned something before I dropped out
That's
in
a lot.
math. And so it wasn't so much the job. It was really more about not feeling like I could really be present anywhere.
Yeah.
It's like I have that line in the book about, when you're on a hit sitcom and you have a family life that creates this dual family portal, and you have to make both households feel equally as important and wanted and attended to. And then I say it was like having a full-time job away from my full-time job, but it begs the question, which one was away from which,
Which is the real family.
Yeah, but it does go back to this thing where, and I talk about that, that Chuck's credo, Chuck's rules, for lack of a better term, were just that, just do the job that you promised us you would deliver when we hired you. And that's really uncomplicated. Mm-hmm. That is super uncomplicated. And so looking back on it, it's like there's such simplicity in just honoring that and just staying connected to that and letting all the stuff behind me say, or telling them, look, this has to come first to a degree, so then we can do all this stuff as a result, You
regret how it ended?
I regret how it ended, yeah. And if the show ever came back, because these days anything's possible.
Sure.
Because we're all still in the game. It would be more for the fans. It would be to just put a proper bookend on that whole thing.
So you'd still like to do a reboot?
Well, if it was, if it made sense for everybody involved, absolutely, yeah.
When you left the show and it all kind of blew up, what was that like being inside your head? Because, from the outside, I'm sure I'm not the first person to tell you, it was like watching a train crash.
Right.
What was that like for you?
But that's like a train crash coming off a bridge, like hit by a tsunami, falling into a volcano, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. On fire.
Let's not just make it like just your run-of-the-mill train crash.
It was a Charlie Sheen train crash.
Yeah. So what was it like
inside your head?
Well, was I the conductor or am I riding the caboose? Or both? I can't really speak to what it was like inside my head because I was kind of outside my head.
Yeah.
You're
not the first celebrity to struggle with addiction, but your battle was so out in the open.
Right.
At that point especially, it was like you engaged with the press in a way I think most celebrities avoid. You would call into radio stations and go on live television.
Sure.
What compelled you to do that?
I had just tapped into some strange energy that, I was doing a specific drug that did, and you read about that in the book, right? So it did create a bit of a roid rage.
Yeah.
And so that got away from me. And I don't know. I just felt like I needed to take a stand, but against what? And then speak to things in a way, but why? I was trying to get even. I was trying to be a bully. I was trying to be a bully.
Yeah.
I've been bullied a lot as a kid, and maybe I felt like, I wanted to see what that was like from the other side. It's bad from both sides.
Yeah.
So
just full-blown meltdown.
full-blown meltdown, yeah. And then once it got away from me, I talk about it in the book that they were, unknowingly or unwittingly kind of celebrating my demise when people kind of joined, took my marching orders to heart and became like this army, cadres of supporters and instigators, But you can't do that unless somebody initially leads the charge
Right.
or sets the table for that kind of chaos,
So you're in this drug-fueled state, and you write about, you're having sex with lots of women,
Right.
and then you say you flip the menu.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Well, there's a lot of stuff on the other side that I never looked at. And I was like, well, hold on now. And I'm like, well, sure. Why the hell not?
Yeah.
The way things were going. It's like how I feel about that now is that you don't put it in a book or talk about it in a doc if you don't want to talk about it in a setting like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a deeply personal question, but,
No, it's
you're
fine.
talking about having sex with men.
Sure. Yeah.
And why did you want to share that?
Because I just wanted to feel what it would be like to just expose that. Not expose that, but share that. And it's fine. Is
there relief?
There is relief.
What do you think there would be, like shame or guilt?
Yeah, a lot of judgment and all that stuff. But I was driving up north a few days ago. I was on the phone with Amelia, and he said, "Hey man, are you cool that now all that stuff is out there?" And I said, "Bro, I got to tell you, it feels a lot better out there than it did in here all those years, And also, it was." I mentioned this in another interview, but it was also to take the bullets out of some guns that have still been pointed in my direction,
Right.
and just like say, you no longer have any control over me with your extortion demands and stuff like that. Because
So there were people from your past who are still holding that over you.
yeah, and so that was a part. That's not what led the charge. That's more of an off-label benefit to making that decision.
Yeah. Liberating.
Yeah, and I also wanted to have just a little more in common with Richard Pryor, Marlon Brando, and Mick Jagger. So
Why not?
Like that? Yeah, man. That's
Trifecta.
some pretty slick company, right?
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
That's some Hall of Fame stuff.
With your diagnosis,
Right.
your HIV diagnosis, fair to say you're
You're checking every box, aren't you?
well, I mean,
all
it kind
all
of
the hits.
flows onto the
All the hits, yeah.
the lowlights and the highlights,
Sure.
shall
Yeah,
we say?
man.
With your HIV diagnosis, fair to say your lifestyle caught up with you.
Sure.
Was that a wake-up call
Oh yeah.
for your lifestyle?
Yeah, yeah. But I knew it wasn't. It didn't feel like. It was kind of the end of the road in one respect, but the beginning of a new path in another way.
Okay.
Yeah,
You chose to share that news with the world
I did.
in 2015.
Because of a very similar situation with the other thing.
So you were being blackmailed
Yeah.
by former sexual partners.
Correct. Yeah.
We're talking millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars.
I mean, yeah, it was up there. It was seven-figure stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and it just so the Lauer thing did come with the type of relief that was about that, but was also about me personally and just so I didn't feel hunted anymore, or just always in someone's crosshairs, So that I'm not saying that completely inspired the stuff about the man. The men's sex? How do you say
Men's sex?
Men's sex. Man sex.
Sex with men?
Men's sex. And so, yeah, but I had a hunch that it would come with a similar benefits package.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
You really don't shy away from anything, do you?
Well, I got more days behind me than in front of me, and so if the rest of this thing is going to be authentic, then why not now? Why not now?
We normally get a list of things we can't ask about, and here you are just.
Well,
men's
you probably got them, but that's all right. I know, because I said don't put it on paper, don't put it on film.
Yeah.
If you don't want to talk about
Yeah.
it, those have to go together.
True.
Yeah.
How is your health? I mean, HIV, it's not a death sentence, but it is a life sentence.
It is. Yeah.
How do you reflect on that? How do you look after yourself?
I'm fortunate that the technology, the medicine got to where it was when I got to my, where I wound up with it. So, like I write in the book, I think about it 20 seconds to start every day.
Yeah.
And then, but there's some days that are worse than others, kind of like not a woe is me thing, just another thing about, a decision that led to that. Just a
lifestyle choice
that
stayed with you.
Yeah, but perhaps that's something that had to happen for a reason. Maybe if that hadn't happened, again, we wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah.
I don't wish it upon anybody, but I don't see myself as a victim for having it. It's something that. Then who knows? There could be a cure one day. There could be some great breakthrough or some AI
Yeah, absolutely.
moment,
Do you regret the impact? I mean, your family is clearly very important to you.
Sure.
Do you regret the impact of some of those decisions on your family, your parents, your children?
Yeah, I mean, I can't change it, though.
Of course.
All I can change is what I'm doing moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wish that I had perhaps inflicted or created less pain or suffering or trauma or whatever. But again, the good news is that we're all still able to sit down and talk about it or just do other fun stuff together,
There's that famous moment where your dad, Martin Sheen, held a press conference at the hospital.
Right.
In '98 when you had overdosed. Is that hard for you to watch? I mean, you've got adult children yourself now. Like, can you imagine?
No, there's a line in the doc where I say I can't imagine being my dad. And it kind of sums it up, That's highlighted pretty nicely in the doc, that whole thing. But it's also tackled pretty thoroughly in the book. And you'll notice it's the only section in the book that has chapter titles.
Yeah, I did notice that.
Yeah, Escape from L.A.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good one, right?
It is.
Yeah. That thing's its own movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's been the hardest part of healing, if you like, and I guess writing the book as well, telling this story? I mean, you talk about how have you processed the things you talk about, the shame,
Right.
the guilt, turning it into a positive future.
What's been the hardest part?
Yeah.
I don't know that there's been one hardest part.
Yeah.
I think when I dove into this thing, I knew I knew the size of the mountain that I was, being tasked with scaling, conquering, but I stopped looking at the summit. I started looking at the various base camps that I would set as goals on the journey to finally get there. And so I really liked the view from the top, but getting there was was pretty intense.
I bet.
Yeah.
A whole lot of stuff to confront and work through.
But it also had to be approached in a very laser focused, Virgo brain, organizationally laid out approach. I can't construct something without an outline. I can't pack for a trip without an outline.
Right.
So how would I not use one for a book,
No one else could have told this story.
Thank you.
Could they?
Thank you.
Really?
Thank you. Yeah. And that's exciting. That's exciting to just have sat down and done it. Because you never, you say yes to a job and you got everybody rooting for you, and then it's literally, it's either a pad of pen and paper or a blinking cursor on a computer screen.
Sure.
I wrote the entire book on an iPad, by the way.
Did you really?
Yeah, with a magic keyboard.
Hard work.
Yeah, but somehow it made sense when I started, and I didn't want to disrupt that flow.
Sure.
Yeah.
So you're back now in front of the cameras and in the spotlight. Do you see this as is it a fresh start, a second chance? What's next? What is the next chapter?
I think it's a reset.
Reset.
What do you think about that?
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a factory reset. No, it's just an opportunity to actually tackle a couple of areas that I've never. I mean, this is new terrain for me.
Yeah.
These are previously unexplored horizons. So it's nice to officially, well, as of tomorrow, be a professional writer. That's crazy. I've never done a documentary. So it's interesting, this journey back into the fray, back into this industry, and doing it not by the means at which I became known for doing it. I think that's kind of cool.
Well, it's different.
It's different.
And it's
different.
new to you.
Yeah.
And it's very authentic.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, it's generated a lot more attention than some random action film.
So will we see you
You
back?
know what I'm saying?
I do, yeah.
Yeah. This is a lot more interesting, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, well, it's gritty, real stories.
Right on, yeah.
So will we see you? Would there be another action film? Would you like to be back on our screens?
If the right thing shows up, absolutely. And the good news is that that the material I'm reading now that's being submitted it's the best stuff I've read in 20 years. So I think people are seeing okay, this is a guy we've missed. This is a guy that has the skills and the droids we're looking for.
How would you like to be perceived?
How did you perceive me today?
Very honest. Very honest.
Okay.
Funny.
Okay.
You want more compliments?
Just one more. I like things in threes.
No, I think you're quite raw with a lot of, you've had some very, very close calls.
Can I get brave?
You're very brave, Charlie.
Okay, so I'm going to go with honest, funny, and brave. That's how I like to be perceived.
Yes.
So I'm putting that out, right?
Well, you've crawled out of some places that a lot of people wouldn't survive.
Thank you. Thank you.
And whatever people may have said about you, you have not had a boring life.
No, I have not. No, and didn't write a boring book as a result, right?
Thank you for your honesty today.
My pleasure.
It's been so good to talk to you.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lovely to meet you.
It was a pleasure. Likewise.